What's going on, everyone? It's Mike looking like Elvis Presley. It's John looking like a draining board. And this is your debrief. Yes, people, what is going on? We are back. It's another debrief. Everton 1, West Ham 1. A poor game. Some comments after the match reaction, which we'll address. Because I think me and John were probably quite annoyed yesterday, but probably slightly over annoyed. It was a weird emotional game yesterday, but you made a comment yesterday, John. I think you said it was the worst performance of the season. I don't think neither of us would agree with that today, but it was so frustrating, weren't it, that game? It was so frustrating.
Mate, the comment you come out with yesterday, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it looked like both teams were on the beach. You know, none of us have really got anything to play for. I think we could all agree that Everton is safe. West Ham aren't going to go down. Just wanted to see more, and at the end of the day, mate, I think it was probably a fair result. I think Everton did deserve the equaliser. We had a phone conversation today, and I said, you know, the performances of late haven't been as good as what they were when Moyes first come in. But what this team under him is showing is they keep going till the end. You know, another goal near the end yesterday, the first minute into added time. I think it was a well-deserved. Not a well-deserved point. I think it was a fair result, the 1-1. Certain players, I know we're going to touch on some of the players, aren't doing it for me. Again, you know, we had a conversation this morning about certain players who come into the fold yesterday, the likes of Chimiti, who I thought, well, he had 2 shots, mate, not long after he come on, and he troubled their keeper. I thought Chimiti done enough yesterday to warrant a start over Betto. You know, Betto had that purple patch where I think he scored. It was 5 games on the run, I think he scored, and he was taking the one-on-one chances that we've all been critical of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that he doesn't really take them. But I think it is showing now that Betto did have a purple patch. And I know people are going to say, you know, he was isolated up top. Whether he was isolated or not, when the ball was paid to him, mate, he can't control a football. His first touch is awful, absolutely awful. And when you play the way Everton do in the long balls, we said this on the last video, well, the match debrief, last match reaction apart from yesterday. Well, we seem to be reverting back to these long balls again, whether it be from the goalkeeper or whether it be from the centre-halves. It's no good playing balls like that to Betto. Against centre-halves like that, it's bread and whatever, what's the saying? Bread and butter to them centre-halves when you're playing balls like that, because Betto doesn't win many headers, mate. And when he does flick them on, there's no one running in behind him. So it's a pointless way of playing. And if you're going to play the midfielders, you know, the likes of Alcaraz and your favourite player, James Garner, you've got to try and play through the lines, because it worked with Betto against Leicester. When we played through the channels, he run onto balls and he scored goals. No good playing the high balls, and they are coming back into this team's game at the minute.
Yeah, completely agree. You mentioned, I want to talk about James Garner because you mentioned him, and I was very pro James Garner. And look, I think there's a player in there. I do think it's the way sometimes you're coached. I think sometimes it's the way you play. But the thing that's frustrating me with James Garner currently is he's playing the ball sideways too much. When he first came back into this team and he was starting games, there was a goal I think he set up, a lovely through ball to Betto. It was a stunning ball. I think it was against Spurs. He played it straight through the middle of that team. There was moments in that particular game where he'd be there challenging into tackles, flying in, being aggressive where needed. I'm not seeing the same James Garner. I'm not seeing that James Garner. Now, whether that is a new manager bounce, whether that was because he'd just come back from injury, whether it was whatever it was, but I need one or the other, because if he's going to be like a Morgan Schneiderlin and just play sideways and be known as a crap, that's not what Everton need. And if he is going to be positive, he is going to be on the front foot. And there's a reason that he's not. I think we need to address it, because yesterday we consistently tried to swing the ball into that box, and consistently that ball was headed out. We consistently went long, bypassing the midfield, didn't do anything. I thought Decore, again, poor. I thought he was poor. I thought James Garner was poor. I thought Betto was poor. I thought Harrison, first 25 minutes, I thought Harrison was great, actually. I thought he was in the game. I thought he was trying to cross the ball. As soon as we went in for half time, it was like the Jack Harrison of old. Wouldn't beat a man, wouldn't put a ball into the box, couldn't pass, was scampering down the line. Alcaraz is not a left winger or right winger as long as I've got a hole in my backside. So it was disappointing. The 2 10s didn't work. Moyes, to be fair to him, did come out and say that. He said there were certain things that he didn't want to do. But this Everton team need, and this is what I was alluding to, we need the summer, because the football is getting worse. I don't blame Moyes for that, if I'm being honest, but I do blame the mentality of these players, and we know it's the players' mentality because we've seen it. These players will not die. Fair enough. They went and got a result. They were 1-0 down. If that was under Dyche, we both said we'd have lost that game 2 or 3-0 or 3-1 or something. But it's the lack of playing until they're losing, or it's going in front and then taking their foot off the pedal. We did it against Wolves. We go 1 up, take a foot off the pedal. Brentford, we're 1-0 down. We go and get a result. Man United, we're 2-0 up. We take our foot off the pedal. We just need consistency. That's it.
For me, yesterday, the substitutions changed the way the midfield played yesterday. You know, we took Garner off, we took Decore off, he brought Tim in. Thought Tim was probably the best player for Everton yesterday, probably one of the better players for Everton from after he come on as a sub. What I pointed out to you, I've pointed this out a couple of times. I always look at certain players, well, all players, and when they're out the team, do we miss them? And then when they're in the team, would we miss them if they weren't in the team? And for me, James Garner's one of them players. I actually don't see what he brings to the team. And I know that sounds harsh, and I think a lot of people are 50-50 with James Garner. As you said before, you were more pro with him, and you couldn't really understand why I was so against him. But I'm not seeing anything. You know, we've seen one good pass from him. You brought it up before, the Tottenham game, where basically he hit it first time and Betto run onto it, playing through the channels. We're not seeing enough of that. And for me, James Garner, for example, if he's not in that team, we don't miss him. We don't miss him. We need the summer. Going to be a lot of changes, but when I look at the likes of James Garner, Jesper Lindstrom, Jack Harrison, Decore, looks like he's going anywhere according to a few sources. There's teams in the Premier League and the Middle East after him. Certain players who I've just mentioned there aren't going to take this club forward. Now, we've got a new dawn approaching with this football club come the summer. James Garner, Jesper Lindstrom, Jack Harrison, as I said, Decore, probably Calvert-Lewin, Betto, don't take us to that next level. They're not good enough. And I know you can't replace every single player in the team, but it's about squad size for me. And if we had better on the bench, Jack Harrison wouldn't be playing, Jesper Lindstrom wouldn't be playing, Decore wouldn't be playing, Betto wouldn't be playing. So these are players for me who are not good enough come the summer to take us to the next level where we want to be. It's a big summer for us. You know, them players who I've just mentioned there, it wouldn't bother me if I didn't see them in an Everton shirt next season, to be fair, the likes of Betto. I don't think he's good enough. Listen, he gives us all. We can all agree on that. When he puts that blue shirt on, he does give us all. But he's not consistent. As I said before, when you went off the video, we spoke about him having a purple patch, Betto, when he scored 5 games on the run. Now we're seeing the old Betto, which is not good enough.
Yeah, and we're also not playing back to his strengths again. There was only 2 balls that went through the channel yesterday that I remember counting, and neither of them Betto was in the right position to get a shot on target. When he sort of was running towards the goal. He went back into old Betto, which is slow the ball, wait for someone to help him rather than running at the centre halves. And look, we know that Betto is... I've never known a footballer be as gangly, almost so leggy, but be a Premier League footballer. Like I can't remember a footballer that is literally looks like he's running on ice. Yeah, he's a Premier League footballer. But he didn't do that yesterday. He had a couple of attempts first half, a couple of big headers, difficult chances. There was one where he was leaning back and he had to... Look, I'm cool with all of that, trying to get those chances, causing problems. I'm cool with all of that. And that was when Everton were playing all right. Jack Harrison was delivering good balls into the box. Jake O'Brien was overlapping him. They looked like they were building up quite a good little partnership at times yesterday, actually, to be fair. Jake O'Brien and Jack Harrison. But it just dwindled away. It just dwindled away. It's like Everton, and I said this in the last video, I said this against Wolves. It's like they've run out of ideas. And, we've brought in a set-piece coach. I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I thought the set pieces were awful yesterday. I thought they were poor. They were either directly to the keeper. There was a couple where they didn't even go above knee height. It's shocking. We used to be a lot more of a threat when Sean Dyche had them corners and they were pinged over to the back stick where Tarkowski was, and Tarkowski nodded it into the middle, and that caused problems. We're not doing that either. So I sort of sat there yesterday watching that game thinking, we're more than capable of beating West Ham, but I can't see us scoring.
I think, going back to the set pieces that you mentioned, under Sean Dyche, I think Everton were in the set piece table. Everton were quite high up.
It was second.
Yeah, but I think it was after Arsenal. Correct. Now we don't look like scoring from a set piece. Now I'm not going to dig Alcaraz out because he excites me. Alcaraz is definitely a player in there. I'd like to see him come in the summer permanent. But he took a couple of corners yesterday and they were absolutely shocking. He can't take a corner. Going back to Betto with the one-on-ones that he's had, listen, it's all right playing them through balls for him to run onto against Leicester. When you're playing the likes of Tottenham and the likes of Man United and the likes of West Ham, who have got big centre-halves, it's bread and butter to them all day. So we're going to have to find a different way now, especially with this run of fixtures coming up, of scoring goals. Do we go back to playing it through the middle for them to run onto? Because we have done that a couple of times since he had that purple patch, and he's now missing one-on-one chances, what Dominic Calvert-Lewin would miss. So where's the goals coming from again? We're struggling, I just think a massive reset is needed, and I totally agree with what you said before about it looks like they've run out of ideas. I think with this squad of players now, what David Moyes has done, there's only so much more he could have got out of them. There was only so much more that this squad of players' brains can register and take in before their heads full, because they're not very good footballers, the majority of them, Michael. They're not good enough for our football club. So he's took us now. This isn't digging Moyes out. I'm taking the squad of players out. If Moyes had better players that he could pick and to deal with week in, week out, then we'd be taking better set pieces. We'd look dangerous when we went forward. We wouldn't be playing the high balls as much. He's got every sinew and every ounce out of this squad of players now, and I don't think he can put any more ideas to them. It just so happens now we see. Listen, we're unbeaten 9. We're talking like this. We're unbeaten in 9. We should have beat Man United. It was a stonewall penalty. Bournemouth, we were probably unlucky there. I think Betto could have scored a hat-trick against Bournemouth. Brentford. Yeah, but we're not taking them chances anymore. The goals have dried up. So I just think he's got everything out of this squad of players now, and I don't think he can fill them with any more ideas. And I think what you're seeing now, even though we've got this run of awful fixtures coming up, probably the best you're going to see until the season ends.
Yeah, I agree, and that was why I was worried about this game. That was literally, I had a couple of comments saying Mikey being really negative in the preview, and it was because we had different opinions about this game, and that's not a bad thing. We all have different football opinions, but I was there at Wolves. I was there. I saw the team. I saw how they performed, and I was just like, you play like that against a better team like West Ham. They went and got a result at Leicester. They went and beat Arsenal at Arsenal. They're no mugs, West Ham. They're no mugs. They've got a good team. You can't tell me that Goodison, Paqueta, even Ward-Prowse would walk into Everton's midfield. The wingers, Wan-Bissaka, they'd all get into Everton's team. We can sit here and talk about where Everton are as a club, but the facts are, in my opinion, Sean Dyche did a good job last season. He did a good job last season. But David Moyes has worked even more miracles, because that Everton team was on its knees, absolutely on its knees, and he's came in, he's found a way of getting results early. And when we had players like Ndiaye and Calvert-Lewin who would hold up the ball better, and Ndiaye could come into play a little bit more, and then I think we'd have still won these. I think we'd have beat Brentford. I think we'd have beat Man United, because we'd have had an outlet. We would have had an option. We'd have had something different. When I look at this Everton team currently, in its current form, with Lindstrom and Harrison as wingers, with Charlie Alcaraz playing out of position, with Betto up front, that team don't win Premier League games for me. And I know it did, and I know it has, but for me, it doesn't. It just shouldn't win Premier League times. The only player out of them that I think is definitely a Premier League quality player is Charlie Alcaraz, a player that up until the last couple of games, I was completely on the fence about. But now, every time he gets the ball, he goes forward. Every time he tries to play a pass, every time he tries to beat a man. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work. His corners were shocking. Some of his decision-making at times is poor, and his shot yesterday was rank. But he's so much better than what we've got. He's so much better than what we've got. And, in the next game we play, I know it's Liverpool. I know it's a tough game, but I'll be straight with you. I want to see Chimiti more. I want to see Alcaraz, and I want to see Tim. Because those three players yesterday, the two substitutions and Alcaraz, started creating problems when the three of them were on the pitch. Brozier did okay, but Brozier's not an Everton player, and there's no way we'll sign him. There's no way we'll sign him. But for me, Chimiti, when he gets on the ball, causes problems. He's pacey. He's got skill. He gets a beautiful half volley off yesterday. Keeper makes a good save. Ends up being an Everton goal, by the way. Charlie Alcaraz has that chance at the end. Let's be honest, he should score. He should score, but he doesn't. It is what it is. And Tim carries the ball that creates the goal, carries the ball through the midfield, carries the ball further forward, does the Decore role, but with better feet, with a better pass. For me, this team now, in my opinion, is in the position where it has to forward think, and that means Chimiti gets more games. That means some of the kids might get some more opportunities, because we are safe. As me and you said yesterday, if David Moyes come out and said to us, right, look, this is going to be horrendous towards the end of the season, I'm only thinking we're going to get another 2 wins. He doesn't even need to tell us. If he comes out and goes, look, I think we beat Ipswich and Southampton, and I don't care about the other 7 games, and he plays some of the kids, he plays Chimiti, he gets the fitness back in Tim, builds up for pre-season next summer, because it's a massive summer, I ain't got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with that, because the sooner we get the deadwood out of this football team, the better. The Jack Harrisons, the Lindstroms, the Decores, and if there's a new plan, then do it. Do it now. We're safe. Let's crack on. Let's crack on.
The players you mentioned there, the likes of Tim, I think he's got a big season ahead of him next season. Alcaraz, if we sign him permanent, which I think we should, in my opinion, it's exciting, and Dye will be back with us in the next couple of weeks. When you look at the likes of Alcaraz and Dye, Tim, possibly Chimiti, there's more goals there. There's more exciting players on the pitch. Massive pre-season for me coming up for Chimiti. We were speaking today, and the pre-season for this season that we've just had, Chimiti looked a player. He looked a player. As you said, he's strong. He can hold the ball up. He can get a shot off. He'll tackle back. He'll put his foot in. He can be creative if he has to be. It's a big pre-season coming up for Yusuf Chermiti, and if we can see the same this pre-season as what we seen last season, and barring any more injuries that he gets, I think we've got a player there who we can probably count on to score for us quite regular with creative midfielders, because that is Everton's downfall now. Yeah, we're not blessed with goal scoring from Betto. Calvert-Lewin's out. We're not blessed with goals from him. As you quite rightly say, Brozier is not an Everton player. We won't sign him permanent. So for me, you're then counting on Chermiti to stay fit and get more game time. But we need creative players. And Tim and Alcaraz and Ndiaye, when he's back, for me, will create more chances for Chermiti to score. That's where your goals are going to score from. Because when you're playing Decore, and when you're playing James Garner, and when you're playing Jack Harrison, and when you're playing Jesper Lindstrom, as soon as you see that team sheet, you know straight away, and Betto added to that there's not enough goals in that team.
Yeah, completely spot on. And that it's just what I know. People will say, Mike, you're writing off the rest of the season. You know, every position's important. But this Everton team, I've run out of ideas. They've got Liverpool at Anfield. They've got Arsenal at Goodison, Chelsea,
City,
Man City, Forest, Newcastle. I'm not expecting loads of points out of them games, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm not, you know. And I don't want to sound defeatist because I know we're 9 unbeaten. I get all of that. But I just think if David Moyes can have more than 2 months to get this team prepped and to have those plans and to start thinking about what he's going to do next season, I think do it, because we are safe. And like I said, you know, seeing Tim more carry the ball, we saw it at the start of the season. Tim was fantastic for the first 5 games of this season. Positionally, he's going to make mistakes. He's young. But David Moyes got the best out of Ross Barkley at times. I remember. Yeah. I remember David Moyes getting some good youngsters into that Everton team. Leon Osman went on loan at Derby, come back. Hell of a footballer for Everton. You know, Harrison Armstrong's there now. What's the difference? So if we can start planning for the future, that's great. Now, there is certain players that are going to have to play. We haven't got any other wingers apart from Lindstrom and Harrison. So that is it. But there's definitely younger players that could come and play and have a kick about and have 5, 10, 15 minutes and just get prepped. And, you know, Moyes was asked a question yesterday, did it feel good having senior players on the bench? And I'm actually the complete opposite at this point. We're 17 or 18 points clear, plus goal difference. I ain't bothered if he throws 3 youngsters on. I ain't bothered. I'm not bothered. And you know, there were people that say, don't throw the season. You know, every place is worth £2.6 million and all of that. Mate, if we play the way we're going to play, we're going to finish 16th. We're going to finish 16th or 17th. We'll finish 16th. It'll be Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, and Everton just above. I don't think we'll finish above Manchester United. I don't think we'll finish above Spurs. And on yesterday's performance, I don't think we finish above West Ham.
You mentioned the young players there, and you're quite right with what you say. Why isn't he giving them a chance now to have a look at them? We're practically safe. I'd say we are safe. Now, we've spoke on this channel many times how many players we put out of contract and how many loan players that we're going to retain. There's probably one, which is Alcaraz. So there's a lot of players leaving this club. We can't go out straight away and spend money to replace every one of them players. So you are going to see a lot more, well, not a lot more youth, but you are going to see youth on the bench next season. Because again, the squad size, in my opinion, is probably going to be smaller than what it is now come the summer. Because this isn't a quick fix in one window with all these players out of contract. This is going to take probably 2 or 3 windows to get the squad size and the squad quality that David Moyes wants. So he's going to have to bed some of the youngsters in from now to the end of the season. I'm not saying throw them in against the likes of Liverpool and City and Arsenal. But when you're playing the likes of Southampton and Ipswich we should be giving them a chance, because these players who should be given a chance, these youth players in certain games from now to the end of the season, are the youth players who are going to have to be used next season, because it's not a quick fix. With the amount of players we've got out of contract and loan players who are going, they can't be replaced in one window. It's a lot of players to bring in. So we've got to bed some of these youth players in now, so we can have a look at them, see who's good enough going forward, who can play on a more regular basis next season, or at least be on the bench to put bums on the seats on the bench. And I just think you're spot on with what you say. We need to start seeing more of these players, because I'm telling you now, we're going to have to see more of them next season.
Yeah, spot on. Right. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. We've been linked with Tom Fellows from West Brom. I've literally just spent the afternoon with a West Brom fan who says he's completely overrated and that he'd take £5 million for him. Now,
I'll ask you the question, because you're obviously from where you know more West Brom supporters than me.
I know his family.
Right. Would you say he's better than Lindstrom and Harrison for £5 million?
Yeah. He's going to cost more than £5 million though, and that's the
thing. Sorry, that was your opinion. I'm not doing it. But he could come into it. If he was at Everton now, he'd be playing over one of them, wouldn't he?
I think he'd start game straight away. Yeah, I think he'd start game straight away. Do you know what the issue actually is with Tom Fellows? Is he does all the hard work, and he'll probably would get you plenty of assists, but he can't hit a barn door. Apparently, he can't hit a barn door. So with
the wingers we've got now, haven't created. I don't think they've created a chance this season, have they? Or am I right in saying?
Well, Jack Harrison's got 1 goal and 1 assist, if I'm not mistaken, and I think Lindstrom, as a result of Jack Harrison, has got an assist.
Well, yeah, but that was. You could call that a dodgy assist, couldn't you? Because I don't think he meant it, but by the by, it was a count as an assist. When you've got wingers like that who have got 1 goal between the two of them and 1 assist each between the two of them, straight away, mate, where's your goals coming from? Because we've got no creativity in the middle. If you don't play Tim and if you don't play Alcaraz in the middle, and we're in die-out, there's no creativity with sideways Crab Garner, and there's no creativity off Tagore neither.
Yeah, spot on. Right, well, I think we'll leave it there. I haven't got much else to add. The only other thing that I noticed yesterday is obviously he made a triple substitution. We mentioned it in the match reaction. It was a positive change. You could possibly argue it was a few minutes too late, but I mean, we did get an equaliser and we could have won the game, if I'm being honest. We move on. We move on.
Wanted to add before, it does sound a bit negative. We are unbeaten in 9. As we said, there's a lot of draws in that. Now, you could probably take 2 of the draws away and say it should have been 3 points against United. And if Betto takes his hat-trick of chances against Brentford, there's an extra 2 wins. But it's ifs, buts and maybes, isn't it? And quite right with what you say. I don't think we finish any higher than 16th. I think, I'll reiterate what I said before. I don't think Moyes can get any more ideas across to these players now. So it is what it is. We are what we are. And it's a massive summer ahead.
Yeah. Everton have confirmed their opponents for next week, next Sunday. It's Bolton's B team. I mean, that is scraping the barrel if ever I've, and that's not a dig at Bolton, by the way. But Bolton's B team, I mean, what is that, the under-23s for Bolton? Or what is that?
It's probably first team players who don't get a sniff, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, I'm not going for the football next week. No disrespect to Everton's under-23s or whatever it is and Bolton's B team, but I think the majority of fans who are going next week and who went last time to the first test event, it really is all about seeing the stadium for the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's certainly in my case, it's to plan parking and all of that, because that's going to be a nightmare. The last thing I wanted to mention is just a personal thing on me. So I suspect yesterday was my last game at Goodison. Tickets are really difficult to get. It's not easy. Even having a membership, if you're not on there at like literally 10 seconds past 10, you ain't got a chance. So it's really difficult. So if yesterday was my last game at Everton, my first game at Everton was September the 29th, 2001. And we beat West Ham 5-0. Kevin Campbell scored the first goal on the 44th minute from a header. And if yesterday was my last game at Everton, being West Ham, what a strange way to go.
Hopefully there's some kind subscribers on here. If they can't make any of the home games, well let us know so you can say your goodbyes one more time. Friends of ours, Cameron, did mention to me yesterday, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, that there might be a game that he can't go to for family personal reasons. So there may still be a chance, but you're right, they are like rock and horse poo at the minute. And I mean, to get a ticket, I think it's an absolute disgrace the way Everton are dealing with the tickets now for membership holders. What you pay your membership fee for? What are you paying it for? Because you're quite right with what you say. 10 seconds after 10 o'clock, if you're not on there, mate, you're in that queue. I've seen comments on X where people have been on the website.
Oh, yeah.
At 10 o'clock on the dot, and then you move up the queue, and then it just goes off, and they've got to start again.
Mate, I was in the box office when the Arsenal tickets went on, and within literally a minute, they were sold out.
A lot of, I did hear this, that a lot of ex-players now are asking for tickets for them and their family for the last couple of games at Goodison. So, unfortunately, that's where a lot of the tickets are going as well, to ex-players, because there's no way now membership holders, the same amount who were getting tickets 12 months ago, are getting tickets now. There's no way it's near enough the same amount, and I just don't know how Everton are managing to do this, but it's so unfair against people who spend money for the membership to try and get a ticket and they're not even getting a sniff. Now, personally, I think they should have done some sort of ballot. So if you're a membership holder and you're lucky enough to get a ticket for one of the last games, and I'll probably get shot down for this because, yes, everyone is paying for the membership, but to make it more fair, if you've got a ticket through your membership, possibly miss the next game out, so people who were unlucky have then got the chance to get one. It's not rocket science. I just think it would have made it more fair for all membership holders to at least get one more ticket for these last closing games at Goodison.
Yeah, I said goodbye to her yesterday. I walked out of that stadium. It's just sad, really. It'll get me going again. So, sorry. I walked out of that stadium yesterday thinking that was my last game. And
hopefully it's not.
You know, it sounds weird, but I was like tapping the sides, I was banging the walls, and I was stroking the stairs. And Jesus, yeah. I mean, it just would be so weird if my first and last game was West Ham. It would be so weird, so weird. One last thing, and I'm sorry this video's gone on. I have no issue with West Ham fans in general. I don't. I've got friends who are West Ham fans. I don't have an issue. We've worked with West Ham Fan TV and we've done multiple videos, etc. But the poverty singing yesterday after 8 minutes was an absolute disgrace. And in my opinion, you know, like chants, certain chants have been called out and they've been banned fundamentally. You know, Tottenham used to have some chants against them which were completely outrageous, disrespectful, and rightly banned out of football. There's multiple fans, multiple whatever. That was a disgrace yesterday, and that chant should be banned because that is digging at something that actually isn't a problem in Liverpool. Every single person I know in Liverpool works hard in whatever they have to do, whatever way of life. That I have never gone to Liverpool and had a bad experience with any individual. I go there, it's like a home to me. So it hits me really hard when, I'll just say, Scousers who have let me in and hold their arms around me every game and come and ask for pictures and say hello, Mike, and all these positive things. And you've got people from different parts of this country who are all under the same mess, which is the UK, singing poverty songs. I think it's an utter disgrace and it shouldn't be allowed in football. And there should be, I'll be straight, there should be a petition for that song to be banned from football because it is an utter disgrace. And if you was one of those West Ham fans yesterday singing that song, I'm pointing at you. It's not on. It's not on. It's an absolute disgrace. And remember your roots.
Here, well said. And you know what? It wasn't just like a couple of hundred of them. It was the whole fan base that they brought yesterday. And listen, I'm telling you something right now. I've been, we were in London last week, had a brilliant day. But I tell you what, any West Ham fans or anyone who sings that song towards Scousers, I'd rather live where I live than where you live.
Yeah, 100%. Right, guys, we will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. One last thing, sorry. And this is just a shout out. So there was a gentleman that come over to me yesterday called Robert. He asked for a shout out. There's your shout out, Robert. Lovely to meet you. Thanks for your time. There was a couple of guys that took pictures and things in the park end. Again, thank you for coming over and taking the time to speak to me. I know John had a couple as well in Spoons and various places. So we always love that. And John mentioned someone earlier, Cameron, who has been a huge supporter of our channel for years and years and years. We won't go into detail, but I texted him yesterday following some news, and John knows the situation. I just want to say that on behalf of the 14,961 subscribers on this channel, John, me, Dad, Frankie, everyone that has done a video on this channel, we send our love, support, and everything over to you and your family because the Blue Boys Network is and always will be about us as people, as fans. And I will share this, but this one's for you, mate, and we love you. Is John going to talk?
I thought you were going to put something out for Cameron because it come up. Mike is muted, sorry. Yeah, I echo everything you've said there. Cameron knows, that we're here for him. And if you ever need to chat, Cameron, I've known Cameron, we've both known Cameron for a good few years now. And he always comments on how good the channel is and how it's growing and how it's building. Always been nice, and he's had nice words to say to both of us. So we'll be there now. Our thoughts are with you and your family, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, hit the like and subscribe. We love you. We always will love you. If any of you do have a spare ticket for any of the games for the rest of the season, please hit me up. My email is in the bio for the channel. And if that was my last time yesterday, then West Ham's West Ham. And it's kind of a meaningful place in my heart anyway. So, well, see you soon, guys. Up the toffees.